Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Friends, welcome to the Encounter program, sponsored by the Broome County Council of Churches. I'm your host, Mark Kimpland, the pastor at the Endwell United Methodist Church. It was way back pre-COVID, before 2020, that an idea was hatching and brewing in the heart of our guest this morning. And I've invited her back to the Encounter program to see how this dream, this vision is becoming reality. And so it's my honor, it's my privilege to introduce her to you. It is the Reverend Corey Turnpenny, who is the lead pastor at the Church in the Wild. And welcome. I am so glad to see you and welcome you back to the Encounter program.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Let's start here. For those that may not have caught that program almost 2.5, 3 years ago, I was thinking about this just the other day in preparing for our time together. I mean, there you were. You had been within the system of the United Methodist Church and done all the things that you were supposed to do and all the hoops we jumped through and the ordination and all of that kind of stuff, and found yourself, as we all do, in a pretty predictable, traditional type of ministry setting. But then something happened. God talked to you, or God sent you something, a call, to go in a radically different direction. Can you kind of share with our listeners and viewers about that process before we talk about the Church in the Wild and what it's doing?
Sure. Yes, I was very happy serving a lovely traditional church, and found myself sort of, I don't know, not arguing with God, but maybe complaining to God as you do in your prayers sometimes, and just feeling like I don't know, what's going to come next, or where I might be able to feel really authentic in who I was in my ministry. And my husband and I are really committed to the Broome County area and wanted to stay here, and just not seeing any places that were innovative or exciting, or I guess really I probably wouldn't have used this word then, but wild. Yeah. And so as I was sort of complaining or wondering to God one day in prayer about this, it sort of felt like the Spirit said, well, you could start your own church. And I immediately said, no. I never wanted to be a church planter. As wonderful as that all seemed and supported within our conference, it just didn't, I never thought it would be anything I would do. And so I kind of pushed that off for a little while, but that thought just wouldn't leave me alone. As happens with a call. I never thought I would experience a second call in ministry. You get the one done. And you answer it and you think you're good. So it was tough, and I wrestled with it, and I kept trying to think of different ideas, and they were all bad. They were all bad ideas. And then I was with my clergy covenant group, which is a very important thing in my life, fellow clergy that are in relationship and care for each other. And I heard myself say, I just want to be the pastor at Sky Lake, which is the camp in Windsor that I grew up attending and have been worked at in college and have continued to volunteer with. And as soon as I said those words, it felt like the Spirit said, there you go. That's what you were supposed to get to. And then all these ideas came flooding to mind, and it really felt like then I was just holding on for the ride. I started having conversations with a few people, and excitement, was reflected back to me, and encouragement, and they would give me more people to talk to, and so then by spring of 2020 or 2019, we had a small group of people interested in bringing this vision to life, a church that would meet outside at Sky Lake, and that would be really focused on creation care, social justice, and as we started working, then we discovered there's a whole global network of wild churches that's continuing to grow all the time. So that was a relief, right? To find out this. Yeah. We thought it was a new idea, but thankfully there's other people doing this work too, so we could learn a little bit from them and connect with them and know like the Spirit's kind of moving us out into nature in new ways. And so we've just continued to grow since then. We did take a pause. We were planning to take a break in March of 2020 anyway, as I was about to have a baby then. So after that, we regrouped after the world had completely shifted and said, we really think we need this now more than ever. And being outdoors is a good thing,
right? Right, solve that
especially
problem.
At that time. That was a positive. So we forged ahead and did our best, like building community virtually for several months. And then we started with service work. We started, our first thing that we did together in 2021 was working at a Vines garden and helping expand it. And we just went from there. So then we launched worship in June of 2021, and we've been worshiping weekly. That's awesome. Most of the time at Sky Lake. We do hibernate in the winter, as we should.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So we've been on Zoom for the past 6 weeks, but we're getting ready to come out of hibernation and meet in person again. And just seeing the ways the Spirit has led us and continues to bring people who don't feel like they fit in any other traditional religious setting has been so refreshing. I have learned so much, and we learn together, we grow together. It's a very communal, supportive environment.
I was struck as you were laying this all out and such. The epiphany then was the Sky Lake connection. I mean, then the ball started rolling and such things. As a very historical, long, generational place where lives have been changed and new ideas and all of that, and how that linked to the history with the future. I did not understand that. That was...
Yeah, we talked about that as we were forming too, that, the place is really important to us as humans, as creatures. Our place, wherever we find ourselves, wherever we came from, place could start to become like in some books, like the setting becomes a character in itself. It's part of the story. And that's really what Sky Lake has been for me in my life. And I know that is not unique. I know hundreds of people who feel the same way about that sacred ground. And we talked about, the founding of that place where sort of legend has it that Ruth Underwood, a female pastor in the 50s, was told about this property and hopped the fence to check it out. And somehow, the real miracle to me is that somehow she and a group of others convinced people to buy this property before getting conference approval and then got the approval afterwards. And there's just so much faith involved, and so we said we want to be the fence hoppers. We want to carry that tradition and go push the boundaries of what church is.
Friends, our guest today is the Reverend Corey Turnpenny, the pastor of the Church in the Wild. So you certainly have hopped the fence, and in so doing, you described the fear of the unknown. You didn't know, would this work? Would it fly? Would it do anything? And then that suddenly turned into the fear of, can I hang on? While everything is that an accurate analysis of kind of the process?
Yeah, and to hang on and keep open to the direction of the Spirit. At the beginning it felt so Spirit-led, and the right people just kept showing up at the right times. And we really knew God was in it all. And then as it starts to, get more real and solidified, I think for all of us, our tendency is to think, okay, now it's my responsibility. Now I have to figure it out and control it in some way, which once again, last year I went through this process of realizing, oh no, I need to let go and just go where the Spirit leads and stop, trying to force different things to happen and just see where God takes us. Yeah.
So where is God taking you now? We find
goodness.
Ourselves here in the end of February 2023 already. So where has the Spirit been leading the Church in the Wild in the ministry? We
have continued to deepen our roots. We really thought about ourselves as this little sapling of a community. Connected with nature. This was a good metaphor for us to use, and we got through our first few years sort of needing that protection and real care, and now it feels like the cover has come off, and we're now testing our strength to see if we're going to really be able to take root. So that's what we've been doing. We've been really focused on going deeper together in community, building relationships within our community and within the wider community. So we partner with different organizations every month. We're somewhere just showing up saying, put us to work. Because there are so many incredible groups in the Southern Tier doing important justice work that we don't need to recreate any of it. We just want to support what they're doing. And from the beginning, we said, we want to tithe to the community. So 10% of everything people give to us, we're going to give back to a different group every year. And so the first year, I think we gave a few $500 or something away, and this year we were thrilled to be able to donate over $2,000
That's awesome.
to community groups doing amazing work.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about the brainstorming process of all of this. I mean, how are decisions made? How do you, do you get everybody in the same boat, kind of paddling in somewhat the same direction versus many different boats going? And maybe it is. Can you kind of uncover that a little bit for me?
Sure. Well, we're small enough still that we can be pretty nimble.
Yes.
So one of our core values that we wanted to be from the beginning was communal. To really resist the patriarchy or the idea that one person, the pastor, knows it all and is in charge of everything. Certainly we need one focused leader who doesn't have another job, but we bring our board together regularly. So it's just a group of people who've stepped up as leaders, who are passionate about what we do, and we're able to communicate outside of meetings and make decisions communally with people taking the lead in different areas. So we have folks who are really focused on mission. We have folks really taking the lead on worship and community building and community care. So we have been working well, and again, people have stepped up and have to step back in leadership, and God provides the right people at the right time.
No doubt, yeah. What are there things that you'd like to share with our viewers and our listeners, and such things that are on the horizon, or things that the group and the community is looking forward to do, and and extend the invitation to any and all?
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah.
We are excited to be branching out now as we are partnering with groups in the community and now starting to lead some of our own events. So later this month, we have a free laundry night coming up at the Smart Wash on Robinson Street, the 27th from 6 to 8. So we'll pay for anybody's laundry that shows up that night. And we hope that it might encourage other groups to start providing such services around the Southern Tier. It's a really underserved need of clean clothes. And we are excited, of course, about Earth Day. So Earth Day is April 22nd, which falls on a Saturday this year, which is great.
Awesome.
We can have the whole day to give back to the earth, which provides us with all of our needs.
Everything. Yeah.
So we'll be doing a community cleanup in Binghamton, and we'll be hosting another Buy Nothing market. So this is a time when people can donate anything they have that is still in good working order, that can still be used. And then people who need things can come and take it for free.
Awesome.
So this one is going to be outdoor items. So toys, gardening equipment, anything that you might be looking for around spring, and to start doing your outdoor work, or for the kids to play outside. So we're excited for that on the 22nd, along with a community cleanup. And of course, we can't wait for our 2-year anniversary, which is the first Sunday of June. We'll be having a great celebration. Awesome. Sunday at 4 p.m. Out at Sky Lake, which is our normal meeting time, Sundays at 4.
Yeah.
We're also gearing up for a series of one-day retreats that are called Sabbath Life Retreats. It's a program out of Duke Seminary, and it's really geared towards clergy, but it's open to anybody who's available. We're hosting them on the second Monday of every month from March to November. So it's a commitment to yourself, to your own soul and well-being. And I've been reminding pastors that if you need to convince yourself to do this with the knowledge of this is going to be really good for my people that I lead as well, that's okay too.
Right.
So we're excited to bring this opportunity, a time of rest and replenishment for pastors, clergy, are all welcome. And that registration is on Sky Lake's website. So anybody out there who could use one day a month of replenishing, refueling, this is going to be really beneficial for us all.
Awesome. Thank you for offering that. Friends, our guest today is the Reverend Corey Turnpenny. She is the pastor at the Church in the Wild. What have you learned along the way from the time that Sky Lake came out of your mouth in your clergy group to sitting here on set? What have you learned along the way, either about, I don't know, I'll let the Spirit lead you on that one. Have there been lessons that you've learned along the way that you could share?
We've learned a lot, and that's really our goal, is to learn from creation itself. Our sort of guiding scripture is Job 12, where he says, go listen to the animals. The birds will tell you what's going on. The fish will tell you their stories. And that's been really important for us as we get outside every week and just pay attention. We've been learning a lot. I'd say early on, one of the first lessons we learned was to really know who we are, not just who we aren't. So to really claim, first and foremost, even before we figured out what we were going to be doing or what worship was going to look like, we worked on knowing who we wanted to be, our core values, our mission, you know, what we wanted to portray to the world. And that was really important to know that, rather than just saying, well, we're not a traditional church, but what are we?
Yes,
we needed to know that before we could even figure out what are we going to do, what's it going to look like. And then as we've been learning, we did this great worship series on the different types of species there are, you know, like keystone species and those different things. And we did a week all about engineer species. So these are plants or animals that create space for other organisms to thrive. So the main one is like beavers that create ponds and lakes. But there's so many, like prairie dogs and termites or the coral reef, all of these different organisms that create environments for other organisms to thrive in. And you would think, oh yeah, it'd be good to have a couple of those in every ecosystem. But scientists are finding actually the more engineer species there are in an ecosystem, the more viable and healthy it is. And we really took that to heart and said, well, yeah, this is what Jesus meant when he said to love your neighbor as yourself. You know, how can we live making space or creating space for other organisms, not just other people, but other life to be able to thrive? So that really inspires us to continue our sort of communal living and intentional living. Every Sunday we have a time of sharing what intention do you want to set for your week ahead, and let people name a word or a phrase that they're going to use, and we encourage people to live intentionally and to think about the people and the animals and the plants that they interact with.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. What, as you've been through this process, what excites you the most about what's ahead? What excites you the most about that? I mean, you've had a blank canvas here. And the picture and the images and the theology and all of that is beginning to appear. But what excites you if we were going to get together here 2 years from now? What would excite you?
I am just so excited that if the sense of the Spirit moving us out as a whole, you know, the larger church, seeing the interest really growing around the wild church movement. You know, there are now many books being written or have been written about doing church outdoors or just connecting with God and nature. And it's nothing new, right? It's very old. But it's seeing a comeback, and that's what makes me really excited, is to see how many people are interested in this. I can't tell you how many times people have reached out from far away places saying, I wish this existed where I live. I wish I could come. And so I'm excited to be able to start offering, you know, coaching for anybody who is interested in starting a wild church. Please feel free to contact me, because I'm really passionate that this is one of the sort of branches of the future of the church. I really truly believe that, because the old ways haven't been working for a while, and I think the pandemic only helped us to really see how clunky or how dysfunctional our bureaucracy has been, or just the ways of doing things no longer fits. And so we have to find new ways, and I think there is a future for large steeple community churches. But then there's also room for other expressions of what it means to be a faith community. And I really see the wild church movement as being a strong branch of the future of the church. And so I'm excited to help grow that into existence.
And we appreciate that. I mean, we get a tendency, especially within churches and institutions, it's either or. Right. You know, no, we can have more than one thought in our brain at the same time. Right. You know, in different expressions, in ways of doing this. How would people contact you? Let's say that they've heard what you're sharing and such things. They're excited about the possibility, but have some questions. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Absolutely, it's pretty easy. Our website is churchinthewild.org. And from there, you will be able to find our email address, our social media, information about when and where we're meeting for worship and all of our events, retreats, everything's there online.
Awesome, churchinthewild.org. Mm-hmm. How has this changed Corey? How has this changed you? How has it melded and molded you in a different way?
I have learned so much from the people in our congregation, in our community, and I think the biggest realization I've had is how spiritual so many people are. Yeah. And just because they might never show up to a church on Sunday morning does not mean that they don't have a connection to our Creator.
Right.
And in fact, in some ways, I sort of envy their spirituality because they've really had to develop all of their own spiritual practices, and they've had to go it alone, especially if they don't feel like they fit in anywhere. So I've really learned a lot from those folks and appreciate, you know, where they're coming from and their backgrounds and their traditions. And so it's really helped expand my soul. And so many times after worship, I will feel this peace in my body, like after doing yoga or after getting a massage. It's like this incredible sort of glow that you feel after those great, you know, self-care experiences. That's how I feel walking away from spending time in nature, and then but being in community in nature, focused on, you know, our souls and our spirits. It's just so life-giving.
That is awesome. I just want to thank you for your work, and to thank you for the risk you took a while back, and how overwhelming that must have felt, and confusing and exhilarating and all of those different emotions and such. But I really want to thank you, and I thank you for taking this time to share the vision that has been, is, and will continue onward. So we thank you very much. And friends, I want to share with you churchinthewild.org is the place that you need to go. And Corey, thank you for being a part of the Encounter program. And brothers and sisters, I hope that this time has been a blessing to each and every one of you. And I pray that each of us in our own way learns from this example and this experience of looking beyond and reaching out beyond now. God bless you.